Welcome back to another Wreckfest track guide here at Northland Raceway Outer Route. Now, when I made that post on my birthday, I have managed to improve my time a little bit, now down to a 1 minute .066. Northland's not an easy track in the slightest. This track really does challenge you in terms of getting a good drift angle and then holding that good drift angle, because, you know, sometimes you want to be very aggressive with your drift angle, and then other times you actually want to be very shallow, but you want to hold it because a lot of the corners do take a long time. So, a little bit of advice: don't go full throttle when you're drifting at every single corner. Try a few corners going half throttle. You'll be able to hold your drift a little bit better. Now, if you want to have some good cars around this track, obviously you've got the usual Hammerhead RS, the Raiden RS and the Super Venom, but they're not dominant around this track. There's a few other cars that are actually really good. If you've got the DLC, you can use this Stella. That's a very good car. If you don't, you've got the Boomer RS and you've got the Sunrise Super, two very good cars. As well, the Razor, another DLC car, and the Hunter Panther, another tournament car, are both good around this track, but they're a lot more inconsistent and a lot more challenging to get the good laps. So, let's talk about the corners individually. Turn 1, this long tarmac right-hander. You've got a time bundle there on the outside. You can clear it if you want. It isn't necessary, but if you want to have a little bit more safety in case you do find yourself running wide a lot into the entrance of the hairpin, I would clear them out then, just as a safety precaution, because you don't want to be drifting and then your back end hits the tyre bundles and then all of a sudden you're now completely off because the drift angle was changed dramatically. When you are wanting to tackle this corner, you're going to be approaching it at roughly 110 miles an hour if you're in B class, higher if you're in the A class. So you are going to be braking and handbraking quite early, and you're going to have a fairly shallow, for considering what the corner is, it's going to be not a very huge drift angle here. And then if you want to as well, as you can see, I'm sort of changing my drift angle a little bit, even using the handbrake a little bit more, because you don't want to over angle it, because you will just go very slow and you will crash into the wall. Now for turn 2, these are the only two tyre bundles I would absolutely recommend you clear. The ones by the rock, and then you've got the ones that are covering the apex of this left-hander here by the blue and yellow wall. You do want to clear those. You do want to clear those out. When it comes to actually taking that corner, you want to get your back end fairly close to that rock, and then that will set you up nicely for getting to the nice inside line up towards the blue and yellow wall. That will be the apex. So it is a fairly aggressive drift angle you're going into this corner. You want to use majority of that drift to actually slow the car down rather than braking to slow the car down a little bit more for that corner. Afterwards, you've got this long right-hander that goes uphill. Basically, just keep to the inside and don't drift it. And then you've got this jump here with a pretty awkward landing zone. What I would recommend is actually angling your car towards the middle. You want to be landing towards the right-hand side and the middle, sort of middle right of it, because you've got this right-hander immediately afterwards, where you want to actually drift into it before you've got another right-hander behind it that sharpens up quickly. There's a time bundle, the third time bundle you can clear if you want, but yeah, it is a big problem, especially if your car doesn't like jumps, because of an awkward landing that you can get. So by this marshal, there's some time, but you can clear them if you want to. However, it is not a necessity. If you find yourself going very shallow and going quite close to the marshal, I would clear those time bundles. It just frees up the apex a little bit more. However, as you can see here, I go fairly wide and then sort of hit the apex late, so that I can get a much nicer run towards this corner here. But definitely you want to, after the shallower right-hander after the jump, you want to drift into it, and then you want to handbrake and brake again so that you go into the marshal's right-hander. Now, a little bit further up, we've got this left-hander uphill. You just do want to go wide a little bit, because there's a little banking there on the inside that can throw your car massively wide for the corner that's coming up ahead. That transitions back into tarmac. The tyre bundles on the outside, you don't need to bother clearing them, they're not in the way. The one issue that you might find with a lot of cars is that they'll actually bottom out on that left-hander, which is where actually the Stella gets a lot of its time. Then you've got this tarmac left-hander, that's again very shallow, but there's a small bump that you saw me zoom in earlier on that can cause many issues for you, especially for the right-hander coming up. So yeah, as you can see here, carrying good amount of speed, a shallow drift angle. I do use the bump, but I did get away with it, thankfully, for this lap. And then you've got this long uphill right-hander that transitions into dirt at the end, and there's a little banking sort of as the corner exits that you want to get close to, but obviously you don't want to hit too much because you'll go on two wheels and hit the very bumpy section on the outside there. So yeah, you're going to be having a shallow drift angle. Also as well, on the outside of this corner, you can see that it's relatively flat. There's a little bit of runoff that you can absolutely use, and I would recommend it. Because if you do find yourself running a little bit wide, there's a little bit of a safety net there. So yeah, as you can see, it's a fairly shallow drift angle. I'm going hanging close to the inside, not really dropping anywhere below 70 miles an hour. Too much. Heading up to now towards the final corner. This is a very challenging corner, but an absolutely necessary one to get correct because it can set you up nicely for the next lap. It does close off right at the end, so if you're going in with too much speed, you are just going to clatter into that wall. The way I tackle this corner is I do brake and handbrake quite early, sort of having those little shallow angle, getting close to the dirt. As you can see here, I'm getting close to the dirt because it is very sweeping, and then I'm just using the drift to slow my car down to get towards the dirt angle and get close to the wall and hitting the apex there. So there we are, that is the track guide for Northland. I hope you enjoyed. Any and all feedback is appreciated. If you think that I didn't explain the corner well enough, please do let me know and I will be willing to explain it in the comments as well. However, that's going to be it from me. Take care, and ciao for now.